Welcome back. Today we are diving into a really powerful piece of investigative work.
A really deep dive.
Yeah, it alleges a public figure is using some very specific white nationalist rhetoric, specifically the term Zionist occupied government, or ZOG.
The research is it's so thorough.
Absolutely. The investigative side is so strong. So let's just jump right in and talk about how to make sure that research hits with maximum impact.
I agree. I mean, you can tell listening to over 100 hours of content, tracking the stuff on Stormfront, on 4chan, it's top-tier work. But that's where we see the first big opportunity.
Consolidation.
Exactly.
The piece feels like it's trying to make three huge, almost separate arguments at the same time, and I worry it's diluting that main finding.
That's the perfect word for it. The submission's impressive breadth really risks blurring its most significant investigative finding, which is the systematic use of this documented hate speech.
So what are the three pillars it's trying to balance?
Well, the core issue is that it splits its energy. You have the deep dive into Zog rhetoric, which is fantastic.
The strongest part.
By far. Then you have this really detailed, in-the-weeds dispute over an indictment of an associate, Charlie Kirk, whether it was text messages or Discord messages.
Right.
And then on top of that, there's this sweeping psychological profile that labels the subject a narcissistic psychopath.
Whoa.
Yeah, so by scattering the focus like that, the Zog connection, which is the best research part, it just doesn't land with the force it should. It's like you have a silver bullet, but you're trying to hit 3 targets at once.
And that Zog research, citing 100 hours of listening, checking it against Stormfront, even that congressional hearing mention, that's the bombshell. You can't let that get buried.
You absolutely can't. So our recommendation is to focus exclusively on that one single, most damning, and, frankly, best supported claim, the use of Zog rhetoric.
And the other points?
They become supporting evidence, little footnotes almost. You use them just to show a pattern of deceit or a certain kind of behavior, but they are not co-equal pillars of the argument.
So practically, how does that look? How do you restructure it?
Okay, for a concrete example, I'd say dedicate 70% of the piece to just unpacking the Zog link.
Really lean into it.
Lean all the way in. Use the journalist Ellie Reeves and her 10 years covering white nationalists as your core authority. Her testimony that this is a known signal is your proof.
And the Kirk indictment stuff?
You shrink that whole text versus Discord debate down to a single powerful sentence. Just one. All it needs to do is illustrate a pattern of, playing fast and loose with the fact. That's it.
Okay, and what about the narcissistic psychopath label? That feels like a landmine.
It is. We would strongly suggest you eliminate that segment entirely.
Just cut it?
Cut it clean out. It's a huge credibility risk. You're basically handing the subject an easy way to discredit your entire piece by saying you're playing armchair psychologist.
It shifts the argument.
It completely shifts it. You go from a verifiable political critique backed by 100 hours of research to an amateur diagnosis. You have to stick to what you can document.
That makes total sense. It's about authority. And by focusing on the verifiable Zog connection, the whole piece just feels more authoritative because you're not overreaching. You're letting the facts speak for themselves.
And building on that idea of authority, let's pivot to the tone.
Okay.
We can feel the passion driving this. The author is clearly and justifiably angry, but the language itself, it might actually be overshadowing the facts.
That's an interesting point. If you strip out all that emotion, do you risk it feeling, too dry? Too academic? How do you make sure the gravity of it all still hits home?
That's the challenge, right? The highly charged and personal language, while it reflects real anger, it kind of undermines the evidence you've worked so hard to present.
How so?
Well, it's the constant use of these really emotional, derogatory terms. We saw, dingbat, mission bloody impossible, liar, under a curse of insanity.
Yeah.
That language, it shifts the focus from the objective facts, like the Stormfront connection, to the subjective anger of the person writing it.
And you lose people.
You lose the people you most want to persuade. The skeptics, the neutral readers, they just tune out because they feel like they're being yelled at.
So the strategy isn't to lessen the impact, but to change how that impact is delivered? You want the facts to be the punch, not the commentary around the facts.
You have it exactly. The fix here is to adopt a more analytically detached tone. Let the documented facts do the heavy lifting.
Let them carry the negative judgment.
Precise. Let the journalists research the history of the ZOG meme. Let that be what shocks the reader. The difference between telling someone to be shocked and giving them evidence so undeniable they shock themselves is, well, it's profound.
Can you give me a couple of concrete swaps? Like what for what?
For sure. So instead of this dingbat, you could use something objective like the figure's consistent use of specific political tropes.
A little more clinical.
A little more clinical, yes. And instead of calling her a liar about the indictment, just show the discrepancy. The indictment says Discord messages. She claims text messages. Let the reader connect the dots. You don't have to use the loaded word.
And for the ZOG part,
make the journalist quote the star of the show. Her saying how unsettlingly familiar these terms are from her 10 years covering white nationalism, that should be the engine of the shock. Let her expertise be the authority, not the narrator's emotional commentary. It puts all the weight on the evidence, which is right where you want it.
that is a powerful refinement. Okay, so we've hit focus, we've hit tone. Let's talk about the defense. The material does a good job of flagging her use of race, the as a black woman defense. But I feel like there's another layer there to dig into.
Oh, absolutely. The piece identifies the shield, but it doesn't really analyze the strategy behind the shield.
What do you mean?
Well, the material effectively addresses her use of race as a rhetorical shield, but it misses a huge opportunity to analyze this defense as a calculated, deeply cynical strategy.
Because the critique sort of just dismisses it, right?
It dismisses it way too quickly. It just says skin color means nothing, right, these days. And look, while the frustration behind that is understandable, it fails to analyze the political genius, in a dark way, of using identity to deflect an accusation like this.
It's a tactic.
It's a powerful tactic designed to shift the entire burden of proof. It turns the argument away from facts and rhetoric and toward the supposed absurdity of the accusation itself.
So the point isn't just to say the defense is wrong, but to analyze why it's such an effective political move. It basically traps the opponent.
You've nailed it. The suggestion here is to elevate the discussion from just denying the race as shield argument to a detailed analysis of how the invocation of that identity is a conversational trap.
A trap designed to make the facts irrelevant.
Totally irrelevant. You need to analyze how the strategy is built to make that Zog evidence just disappear by refocusing the whole debate on the identity of the accused.
So you have to treat her statements as strategic moves, not just, genuine reactions?
Exactly. Take a concrete example. Her statement, I do have to have a little bit of a giggle about that.
Yeah.
Don't just report that. Analyze it as a rhetorical tool. It's designed to invalidate the accusation purely based on her race, to frame it as inherently absurd that she could be linked to this. It's pure deflection.
And you have to explore that strategic value. I mean, even if white nationalists would never accept her, why does she make the claim?
Because it forces her opponent, the journalist, into an impossible position. It creates a win-win for the subject.
How so?
If the journalist backs down, the subject wins. If the journalist presses on with the facts, the subject can then claim they're being racially attacked. It's a brilliant, cynical move to neutralize hard facts. Your analysis should link that deflection directly back to the Zog evidence, showing exactly how this identity defense is deployed to disarm well-documented research.
Wow. Yeah, that adds a whole new layer of sophistication to the entire piece.
It really does.
This has been incredibly helpful. These are exactly the kind of nuanced changes a project this serious needs. So, to recap for our listener, the key actionable takeaways are, first, a structural consolidation.
Get the focus lasered in on the Zog rhetoric. Minimize everything else.
Second, calibrate the tone. Be more analytical, less emotional.
Let the verifiable facts deliver the knockout blow. That's how you maximize credibility with people who aren't already on your side.
And third, that opportunity for a deeper analysis. Look at the use of identity not as a simple denial, but as a really sophisticated strategic deflection tactic.
Your initial research is so robust, and the Zog evidence is incredibly powerful. These refinements, focus, tone, and angle, they're just going to polish the argument to maximize its impact.
The foundation is clearly there.
The dedication shows. It's great work.
We really encourage you to make these adjustments and please submit the improved piece back to us for a follow-up critique.